In a distant future, humanity has colonized various star systems, discovering ancient alien civilizations and mysterious ruins. On one such mission, a man named Jacob stumbles upon an abandoned alien city and discovers a weak, infant-like creature hidden in the ruins. Unbeknownst to him, this alien baby belongs to a royal lineage, and its discovery sets off a chain of events that could change the fate of the galaxy. Jacob must navigate interstellar politics, ancient alien cultures, and powerful enemies to protect the child and uncover the secrets of its heritage. And so, the story begins. The cold, desolate landscape of the alien planet stretched out before Jacob and his team. Ancient ruins lay scattered across the surface, remnants of a civilization long gone. The eerie silence was broken only by the faint hum of their equipment and the occasional crackle of the comms. "This place gives me the creeps," muttered Tara, one of the team's scientists, as she scanned the area with her handheld device. Jacob nodded, his eyes fixed on the towering structure ahead. "Let's move towards that building. It looks like it might have been important." As they approached, the grandeur of the ancient architecture became apparent. Massive stone pillars, intricately carved with alien symbols, flanked the entrance. Jacob felt a shiver run down his spine. The air was thick with the musty smell of ancient stone and decay. Inside, the structure was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers. The team moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing through the deserted halls. Jacob's mind raced with thoughts of what they might find. This mission was supposed to be a routine exploration, but the significance of these ruins was undeniable. "Over here," shouted Liam, the team's tech expert, from a side corridor. Jacob and the others hurried to join him. Liam had discovered a hidden chamber, concealed behind a false wall. With some effort, they managed to pry it open, revealing a small, dimly lit room. In the center, lying on a makeshift bed, was a weak, infant-like alien creature. Jacob's breath caught in his throat. The baby was small, with soft, luminescent skin that pulsed gently with each faint breath. Its eyes, half open, revealed a deep, otherworldly intelligence. Jacob's heart ached at the sight. "It's a baby," whispered Tara, her voice filled with awe and concern. "But what is it doing here?" Initial scans showed that the baby was of a highly advanced species, its genetic markers unlike anything they had ever encountered. As the team huddled around, the implications of their discovery sank in. "We can't just leave it here." "It's defenseless," Jacob said, his protective instincts kicking in. "We don't know what it is. It could be dangerous," argued Marcus, one of the security officers. "Or it could be our responsibility," Jacob countered, determination in his voice. "We have to take it with us." After a heated debate, the team reluctantly agreed to Jacob's plan. As they prepared to leave, the first signs of other interested parties began to emerge. Unidentified signals appeared on their scanners, and a sense of urgency gripped them. "Let's get out of here before we attract any more attention," Jacob said, cradling the baby gently in his arms. The team moved quickly, making their way back to their spaceship. The ruins, once silent and foreboding, now seemed alive with unseen threats. Jacob couldn't shake the feeling that their discovery had set off a chain of events that would change their lives forever. The team's ship, the Stellar Horizon, was a small but capable vessel, well-suited for exploration missions. As they boarded, alarms blared, signaling the presence of unknown entities nearby. "We've got company," Liam announced, his fingers flying over the control panel. "Strap in, everyone," Jacob ordered, securing the alien baby in a makeshift cradle. "We need to get off this planet now." The ship's engines roared to life, and they lifted off the ground just as the first shots from an alien force streaked past them. The Stellar Horizon shuddered under the impact, but held steady as they ascended through the planet's atmosphere. "Who are they?" Tara asked, fear evident in her voice. "Doesn't matter right now," Jacob replied, his focus on the controls. "We just need to outrun them." A tense chase ensued as the alien ships pursued them through space. The hum of the spaceship's engines filled the cabin, punctuated by the occasional blast from their pursuers. Jacob's hands were steady on the controls, his mind racing with possibilities. Divert power to the shields, Marcus instructed. We can't take many more hits. Liam complied, and the ship's shields flared, absorbing the incoming fire. Inside, the air was thick with tension, the metallic tang of the ship's recycled air mixing with the coldness of space just beyond the hull. "We're not going to make it," shouted one of the team members, panic creeping into their voice. "We don't have a choice." "Hold on," Jacob shouted back, maneuvering the ship through a series of evasive maneuvers. The alien baby, sensing the distress, began to glow more brightly. Its presence seemed to have a calming effect, and Jacob felt a renewed sense of determination. As they approached their exit vector, the ship lurched violently. An alarm blared, indicating a critical hit to the rear thrusters. "We're losing power," Liam yelled, struggling to stabilize the systems. Jacob's mind raced. They needed a miracle. Suddenly, the baby emitted a burst of energy, and the ship's systems flickered, then stabilized. The baby's unique abilities were starting to manifest. "Whatever you did, it's working," Liam said, eyes wide with amazement. Using the newfound stability, Jacob pushed the stellar horizon to its limits. They broke free from the planet's gravity and initiated the jump to hyperspace just as the alien ships closed in. In the safety of hyperspace, Jacob slumped back in his seat, exhaustion washing over him. The baby's glow dimmed, and it settled back into a peaceful slumber. "We made it," Tara said, her voice a mix of relief and disbelief. "But what was that? How did the baby do that?" Jacob looked at the small, sleeping figure. "I don't know, but it's clear this child is special. We need to understand its abilities if we're going to keep it safe." The team nodded, the gravity of their mission sinking in. They had narrowly escaped, but the journey ahead promised even greater challenges. As the hum of the spaceship's engines settled into a steady rhythm, Jacob tended to the baby's needs, feeling an unspoken bond growing between them. The baby's presence was already beginning to influence the team, bringing out their better instincts and uniting them in purpose. "Rest up, everyone," Jacob said, standing and stretching. "We have a long road ahead, and this is just the beginning." In the quiet of the ship, surrounded by the cold void of space, Jacob couldn't help but wonder about the future. The discovery of the alien baby had set them on a path that would test their courage, their resolve, and their very humanity. The stellar horizon entered the docking bay of the team's base, its hull still scorched from the recent escape. As the ship settled into its berth, Jacob felt a wave of relief. They had made it back, but the real challenges were just beginning. "We need to report this immediately," Jacob said, unstrapping himself from his seat and gently picking up the alien baby. Its luminescent skin pulsed softly, a comforting sight amidst the tension. The team disembarked and made their way to the command center. The sterile smell of the base contrasted sharply with the musty ruins they had left behind. They were greeted by Captain Ramirez, the base's commanding officer. "Jacob, what's the urgency?" Ramirez asked, noticing the anxious expressions on the team's faces. Jacob took a deep breath. "We found something, someone, in the ruins. This baby," he said, holding up the small, glowing figure. "It's of an advanced alien species, and we believe it's extremely important." Ramirez's eyes widened. "Let's get it to the med bay for a full examination, and I'll notify the council. This is unprecedented." As the team followed Ramirez, they were met by Dr. Elena Shaw, the base's head scientist. She took one look at the baby, and her professional demeanor faltered for a moment. "Incredible," she murmured. "I'll run some scans immediately." While Dr. Shaw worked, Jacob and the team were summoned to a meeting with High Counselor Lang, a high-ranking official who had taken a particular interest in their mission. Lang's office was filled with ancient texts and artifacts, and as they entered, he regarded them with a piercing gaze. "This child you found," Lang began, "is not just any alien. It's royalty." The room fell silent as Lang continued. "Our initial scans indicate that this baby belongs to a highly advanced species known as the Elysians. They are thought to be extinct, but if this child is truly of Elysian descent, it could change everything. "What does this mean for us?" Tara asked, her voice tinged with awe and concern. Lang leaned forward. "It means that we have a responsibility to protect and return this child to its people. There are factions out there who would stop at nothing to exploit this child's heritage." Jacob felt a surge of determination. "Then we need to find its homeworld and ensure its safety." Lang nodded. "There's a faction that has dedicated itself to preserving Elysian heritage. They've been searching for any remnants of the Elysians for decades. We need to contact them." The team spent the next few hours in intense discussions, formulating a plan. They learned that the faction, led by an enigmatic figure known as Valen, was based on a hidden enclave within a nearby star system. Jacob felt a growing sense of urgency. They needed to get to Valen before others discovered their prize. As they prepared to depart, the baby began to coo softly, its large eyes taking in the flurry of activity around it. Jacob felt a deep connection forming with the tiny being. Protecting it had become his mission, and he would not fail. "Jacob," Lang called out as they were about to board the ship again. "Valen's faction is known to be cautious. You'll need to earn their trust." Jacob nodded. "We'll do whatever it takes." The stellar horizon lifted off once more, the vast expanse of space awaiting them. Jacob glanced at the baby, who seemed to sense the importance of their journey. With the coordinates set, they jumped into hyperspace, racing towards their new allies and the answers they sought. The stellar horizon cruised smoothly through hyperspace, its engines humming with a steady rhythm. Jacob sat in the cockpit, the baby nestled securely in a padded seat beside him. The team was silent, each member lost in their thoughts, as they ventured towards Valen's enclave. "How long until we reach the coordinates?" Marcus asked, breaking the silence. "About 12 hours, Liam replied, his eyes scanning the ship's systems for any signs of trouble. Tara glanced at the baby, her expression softening. "It's amazing, isn't it? To think we're carrying a piece of living history." Jacob nodded. "And it's our job to make sure it stays safe." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Liam's hands flew over the controls as he tried to identify the source of the disturbance. "We've got a problem," he announced. "The hyperdrive is malfunctioning. We need to drop out of hyperspace and make some repairs." The stellar horizon shuddered as it exited hyperspace, the stars streaking back into their familiar points of light. They found themselves in a sparsely populated sector of space, the vast emptiness stretching out before them. "Everyone to your stations," Jacob ordered. "Liam, find out what's wrong with the hyperdrive. The rest of you, keep an eye out for any threats." As they worked on repairs, the baby began to glow more intensely, its light casting a warm glow throughout the cockpit. Jacob felt a sense of calm wash over him, but the moment was short-lived. "Incoming ships," Marcus shouted, his eyes fixed on the sensors. "We've got company, and they're not friendly." A fleet of sleek, dark ships appeared on the view screen, their weapons trained on the stellar horizon. Jacob's heart raced as he recognized the markings of the rival faction that had pursued them from the planet. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Jacob commanded, gripping the controls tightly. "We can't let them get their hands on the baby." A tense chase ensued, the stellar horizon weaving and dodging through the oncoming fire. Alarms blared, and the ship shuddered under the impact of several near hits. Liam and Tara worked frantically to stabilize the hyperdrive. "Just a few more minutes," Liam yelled over the din. "Keep them off us." Jacob's hands were steady, his mind focused. "We're not giving up now." The baby, sensing the danger, began to emit a series of strange sounds, almost as if it were trying to communicate. Jacob felt a surge of energy course through him, a connection that seemed to strengthen his resolve. Finally, the hyperdrive roared back to life. "We've got it," Liam shouted. "Engaging hyperdrive now." With a burst of speed, the stellar horizon shot forward, leaving their pursuers behind. The ship entered hyperspace once more, the stars blurring into lines of light. Jacob let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "Good work, everyone. That was too close." The baby's glow dimmed, and it settled back into a peaceful slumber. Jacob reached out and gently touched its tiny hand, feeling a bond that went beyond words. "We need to be more careful," Tara said, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "They're not going to give up." "I know," Jacob replied, determination in his eyes. "But we're getting closer. We just need to hold on a little longer." As the stellar horizon sped towards Valen's enclave, Jacob couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The baby's abilities were still a mystery, and their enemies were relentless. But with each passing moment, Jacob's resolve to protect the child and uncover its secrets grew stronger. They were on a journey that would test their limits, but Jacob was ready. For the sake of the baby, for the sake of the galaxy, he would see it through to the end. The stellar horizon cruised through the vast expanse of space, navigating a series of dangerous anomalies that dotted their path. Jacob stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the holographic map displaying their course. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but they were closing in on the baby's homeworld. "Another anomaly ahead," Liam reported, his fingers flying over the control panel. "Looks like a dense field of gravitational disturbances." Jacob nodded, his grip tightening on the controls. "We need to get through. Everyone, brace yourselves." The ship shuddered as it entered the anomaly, the gravitational forces tugging at its hull. The eerie silence of space was replaced by the creaking and groaning of the ship's structure. The baby, sensing the tension, began to glow softly, its presence a soothing balm in the midst of the chaos. "Hold steady," Jacob called out, his voice calm despite the turbulence. "We'll make it through." The baby's glow intensified, and a sense of calm washed over the crew. Jacob felt a connection with the child, as if it were lending them its strength. With renewed determination, he guided the stellar horizon through the anomaly, the ship emerging on the other side relatively unscathed. "Good work, everyone," he said, a note of relief in his voice. "Let's keep moving." As they continued their journey, Jacob couldn't shake the feeling that the baby's abilities were more significant than they had initially realized. That night, as he lay in his quarters, he was plagued by vivid visions. He saw flashes of the baby's past, glimpses of a majestic civilization and a regal lineage. Jacob awoke with a start, his heart pounding. He had seen something profound, something that hinted at the baby's true heritage. The vision left him with more questions than answers, but one thing was clear: the baby was destined for greatness. The next day, as the crew gathered in the mess hall, Jacob shared his experience. "I had a vision last night," he began, his voice steady. "I saw the baby's past. It belongs to a royal lineage, and its heritage is more important than we thought." The team listened in silence, the gravity of Jacob's words sinking in. Tara was the first to speak. "We need to protect it, no matter what." "Agreed," Marcus added, his expression resolute. "We can't let anything happen to it." As they prepared to continue their journey, the baby's presence seemed to bring the crew closer together. Personal stories and motivations were shared, bonds strengthened in the face of adversity. They were not just a team, they were a family united by a common purpose. However, the journey was not without its challenges. Internal strife began to surface as the stress of the mission took its toll. Arguments flared and trust was tested. Jacob found himself struggling to keep the team united. "We need to stick together," he urged during one heated debate. "The baby's safety depends on it." Eventually, they encountered a particularly treacherous space anomaly. The ship jolted violently, sending the crew scrambling to maintain control. Jacob's mind raced, searching for a solution. The baby's glow intensified, and Jacob felt a surge of inspiration. "Trust the baby," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "It will guide us." Following Jacob's lead, the crew adjusted their course, navigating the anomaly with the baby's help. The ship emerged unscathed, and the crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. "We're getting closer," Jacob said, his voice filled with hope. "We just need to hold on a little longer." As they continued their journey, they stumbled upon a clue that pointed them closer to the baby's homeworld. The revelation brought renewed energy to the crew, their resolve strengthened by the knowledge that they were on the right path. In the quiet moments, Jacob reflected on the journey so far. The baby's abilities were a gift, and its heritage was a mystery they were slowly unraveling. He felt a deep sense of responsibility, knowing that their mission was about more than just survival. It was about protecting a legacy that could change the fate of the galaxy. With the baby's glow lighting their way, the crew pressed on, united in purpose and strengthened by the trials they had faced together. The stellar horizon approached an ancient space station, its silhouette outlined against the backdrop of distant stars. The station was a relic from a bygone era, and Jacob felt a sense of awe as they docked. This place held the answers they sought. "Stay alert," he cautioned the crew as they disembarked. "We don't know what we'll find here." The air inside the station was cold and sterile, the walls lined with ancient texts and artifacts. Jacob led the way, his heart pounding with anticipation. They reached a central chamber where a large, dusty terminal stood. "Let's see what we can uncover," Liam said, powering up the terminal. As data flickered to life on the screen, Jacob began to decipher the ancient texts. Each line revealed more about the baby's royal lineage, painting a picture of a once great civilization. The baby was not just any royal, it was a symbol of hope and renewal for its people. "This is incredible," Tara whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "The baby's heritage is more important than we ever imagined." Just as they were piecing together the final clues, the station's alarms blared to life. Jacob's blood ran cold. They were not alone. "We've been ambushed," Marcus shouted, drawing his weapon. A rival faction, the same one that had pursued them before, flooded into the chamber. Chaos erupted as blaster fire lit up the room. Amidst the confusion, Jacob felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Liam, his expression grim. "I'm sorry, Jacob," Liam said, his voice filled with regret. "They promised me safety. I had no choice." Betrayal. Jacob's heart sank, but there was no time for anger. They had to protect the baby. As the firefight raged, Jacob and the baby were captured, their hopes dashed in an instant. The rival faction's leader, a tall, imposing figure, stepped forward. "The child belongs to us," he declared, his voice cold and authoritative. "You've been a thorn in our side for too long." Jacob's mind raced, searching for a way out. The baby, sensing his distress, began to glow more brightly, its energy filling the room. "We won't let you take it," Jacob said defiantly. "The baby's heritage is too important." The leader sneered. "You have no choice." As they were led away, Jacob felt a surge of determination. They had to escape. The baby's glow intensified, and Jacob realized that the child was their only hope. "We need a plan," Jacob whispered to the baby. "And we need it fast." Locked in a small, cold cell, Jacob and the baby waited for an opportunity. The baby's presence was a source of comfort, its glow filling the space with a sense of calm. Hours passed, and Jacob's resolve grew stronger. Finally, an idea began to form. The baby's abilities were still a mystery, but Jacob believed in its power. "We can do this," he whispered, his voice filled with conviction. "Together." Using a combination of the baby's abilities and his own resourcefulness, Jacob managed to disable the cell's security system. As the door slid open, he felt a surge of hope. They moved quietly through the corridors, avoiding guards and security cameras. The baby's glow guided them, its light a beacon in the darkness. They reached a control room, where Jacob quickly accessed the station's systems. He triggered a series of distractions, creating chaos throughout the station. "We're almost there," Jacob said, his heart pounding. "Just a little further." They encountered resistance, but the baby's abilities helped them overcome each obstacle. The child's energy seemed to strengthen Jacob, filling him with a determination he had never felt before. As they neared the docking bay, the rival faction's leader intercepted them. "You're not going anywhere," he snarled, drawing his weapon. Jacob stood his ground, the baby's glow radiating brighter than ever. "We're leaving," he said firmly, "and you can't stop us." The baby's energy surged, creating a protective barrier around them. The leader's weapon was useless against the child's power. With a final, determined push, Jacob and the baby made it to the ship. They boarded the stellar horizon, the engines roaring to life. As they blasted away from the station, Jacob felt a mix of relief and exhaustion. They had escaped, but the journey was far from over. Back in the safety of their ship, Jacob held the baby close. "We did it," he whispered, his voice filled with emotion. "We escaped." The baby's glow dimmed, and it settled into a peaceful sleep. Jacob knew that their journey was just beginning, but with the baby's abilities and their newfound determination, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the stellar horizon sped through space, Jacob felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had uncovered part of the baby's heritage, but there was still much to learn. The mission was not just about survival, it was about protecting a legacy that could change the fate of the galaxy. With the baby's light guiding their way, Jacob and his team pressed on, ready to face whatever trials awaited them. The stellar horizon hung in the silence of space, a tense calm before the storm. Jacob and his team had regrouped, their minds focused on the final confrontation ahead. The rival faction had gathered a formidable force, and the impending battle would decide the fate of the galaxy. "Are we ready?" Jacob asked, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We're ready," Marcus replied, his eyes hard with determination. "We've gathered allies from different factions. They're waiting for the signal." The baby, now glowing with a radiant energy, seemed to understand the gravity of the situation. Jacob could feel the power emanating from the child, a beacon of hope and strength. "Let's do this," Jacob said, his resolve firm. The team initiated the final approach, the ancient space station looming ahead like a monolithic sentinel. As they neared, the rival faction's ships came into view, a dark cloud ready to unleash destruction. "Prepare for battle," Jacob ordered, his heart pounding. The first shots were fired, the cacophony of battle sounds filling the void of space. The baby's energy flared, creating a protective barrier around the stellar horizon. Jacob maneuvered the ship with precision, dodging enemy fire and returning volleys with deadly accuracy. "We can't let them through," Tara shouted, her fingers dancing over the weapon's console. "We won't," Jacob replied, his voice filled with unyielding determination. "Hold the line." As the battle raged, Jacob felt the baby's power intensify. The child's abilities were manifesting in ways he had never imagined. The baby's glow became blinding, and Jacob realized that the child was not just a passive presence, it was actively turning the tide of the battle. With a surge of energy, the baby unleashed a wave of power that disabled several enemy ships. The rival faction's forces faltered, and Jacob seized the opportunity. "Push forward," he commanded, leading the charge. The stellar horizon plowed through the enemy lines, their allies rallying behind them. Jacob's leadership and bravery were fully realized in that moment, his resolve inspiring the team to fight with everything they had. The battle culminated in a dramatic showdown with the rival faction's leader. Jacob faced him in the heart of the ancient space station, the air thick with tension and the smell of burning metal. "This ends now," Jacob said, his voice cold and resolute. "You cannot win," the leader sneered, drawing his weapon. The baby, sensing the confrontation, stepped forward. Its glow intensified, and for the first time it spoke, "No more fighting." The leader's eyes widened in shock, and in that moment of hesitation, Jacob struck. The baby's power surged, enveloping the leader in a radiant light. The rival faction's grip on the galaxy was shattered, their leader defeated by the combined strength of Jacob and the child. The ancient prophecy about the baby was fulfilled. The child's true power was revealed, and the battle was won. As the dust settled, Jacob looked at the baby with a mixture of awe and pride. "We did it," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. The baby smiled, its eyes filled with wisdom beyond its years. Together. As the Allied forces celebrated their victory, Jacob felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The mission had been perilous, but they had emerged victorious. The baby's destiny was now intertwined with the fate of the galaxy, and Jacob knew that their journey was far from over. The aftermath of the battle was a time of recovery and reflection. The team had returned to the baby's homeworld, a serene planet filled with lush forests and shimmering lakes. The beauty of the place was a stark contrast to the chaos they had left behind. Jacob stood on a hill overlooking the alien landscape, the baby cradled in his arms. The child had been accepted as royalty by its people, and interstellar politics were shifting as a result of the baby's return. "Can you believe it?" Tara said, joining him. "We actually did it." Jacob nodded, his eyes never leaving the horizon. "We did, but it's not over yet. There's still so much to do." The team members had decided their future paths, each finding their own way to contribute to the new era they had helped to create. Marcus was set to lead a new coalition of planets, Tara would continue her research into alien cultures, and Liam had dedicated himself to understanding the baby's abilities. Jacob, however, was unsure of his own path. He had grown from an explorer to a protector and leader, but now he faced the hardest challenge of all, saying goodbye to the baby. "You're home now," Jacob said softly, looking into the baby's eyes. "You have a bright future ahead of you." The baby, now speaking more clearly, smiled up at him. "Thank you, Jacob." The warmth of the baby's people's welcome had been overwhelming. They had celebrated the return of their royal lineage with grand feasts, the taste of alien food a new and delightful experience for the team. The smell of exotic flora filled the air, and the feel of the baby's hand in Jacob's as they walked among the crowds was a moment he would cherish forever. As the celebrations died down, Jacob found himself reflecting on the journey and its impact. He had grown in ways he had never anticipated, and the team had become more than just colleagues, they were family. "What's next for you?" Tara asked, sensing his introspection. Jacob sighed, a mixture of sadness and hope in his expression. "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, it'll be with a sense of purpose." The baby's acceptance of its royal role marked the beginning of a new political era. The galaxy was changing, and Jacob knew that his actions had played a significant part in shaping that future. A final peaceful scene unfolded as Jacob, the baby, and the team stood together, looking out over the alien landscape. The serene beauty of the homeworld was a symbol of the hope and new beginnings that lay ahead. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the land, Jacob felt a deep sense of peace. Their journey had concluded with fulfillment and unity, and though the future was uncertain, he knew that they had made a difference. And with that, their story ended, but the promise of new adventures and the hope for a brighter future remained.